So dad's going to always be able to push her buttons and make her respond and do certain things and have you two at odds when you know that's where it's coming from. And it's the difference. You know, he might say things like, well, you know, he doesn't understand family. He doesn't call his own family, so he doesn't understand them. You're not going to be like that, are you? See that kind of pressure? That automatically puts pressure on them. You know, when are you guys going to have kids? That's a big one. We want grandkids. You guys got married. What you get married for? You're not going to have kids. Well, we thought we'd wait. What are you waiting for? Do you ever been pressured to have kids, get married and have kids? We were pressured to wait. They told us we should wait. Tell I'm well differentiated. But anyway, the idea is this will attack the emotional stability of you, cause you stress and pain, and it's going to manifest itself in your house. So you can get a phone call and it can set you off. And now your household is in disarray because of the phone call you got. And because you're poorly differentiated, it makes it difficult. Yes, sir?
I have a question. Is this kind of, teaching independence? Or?
Not so much independence, because we all need our families. We need that belonging, but it is putting them in the proper perspective.
How do you teach this then? I mean, to teach them at a younger age and then to go out and just through your own action?
You mean for your kids now?
Right.
Well, actually, they're going to learn it because you're going to do it now.
The reaction of us.
Yeah. The reaction of them with your parents. And that's how you learn it. Because the idea is at some point, we know how marriage was designed. It was a leave and cleave type situation. So a lot of times it would just be best if we would tell people to stay out of our marriage. Like, mind your business. Love you, mind your business though. You know, and not have those kind of conversations. Difficult to do though. Because we are poorly differentiated. We've been guilted into believing that, well, we can't alienate them, they'll get mad. Well, if your spouse is already mad and you're sleeping with him, I think you should probably go with the one you're with the most. You know, and that's going to be your spouse. And sometimes it takes families to understand that we're doing our thing and we need to find our way. You had your turn, let us do ours. If we have any questions, we'll call you. You know, and on the other side, parents just trying to help. They want you to get off on a better start. They've learned things from mistakes they did, so they're trying to share. And then sometimes they are just being nosy. They just did that. There's such thing as nosy parents. They just want to know. No reason they want to know. They just want to know. See what's going on with you guys in case something happens. Or in case you're getting ready to make a bad decision. So they just kind of want to know. Yes, control freaks. And sometimes they've been doing that all along. Some people are glad to get married and get out of marriage, but they still can't break those bonds before. I've been with people where I've counseled, and they have said, you know, they're in their 40s now, but when they go to their parents' house, it's like they're still a kid. And their parents treat them like they're a kid. And they still have to do certain things and do things. And it's really interesting. I remember when my mom kind of does that, but it's kind of a stand. I've made a joke out of it, so everybody kind of jokes she doesn't do it anymore. My mom tries to make us go to bed at a certain time still. Can you believe that? We're in there talking, and she comes in and goes, how long are you guys going to stay up? How can you be productive tomorrow if you're not, you know, going to sleep? She goes, you know what time it is? Yeah, Mom, we're not going to school in the morning. What do you know? But that's how she goes to bed early, and she gets up at like 4:30 for no reason. And that's just the way her life is, and she just thinks you need to be productive the next day. Only lazy people stay up late at night. They're going to sleep in, they're going to sleep the day away, and so you need to get up. So you should go to bed. She doesn't want to actually say the words, you should go to bed, but it's, you know what time it is? Wow, what time you guys are still up? What are you going to do? And a lot of times at the holidays, we just all get together again. But that's her way of saying, go to bed and quit talking. That's what she really wants to say. But that's just her way of applying her little pressure. You know, we got stuff to do tomorrow, you guys should go to sleep. Oh, we're going to dinner tomorrow, Ma, at 6. What do we got to do tomorrow morning? You know? But that's her way, like I said, of doing that. So depending on how, and my younger brother is a sucker for it every time. He's the first one to go, well, we probably should go to bed. Of course he would do that. You know, it's how he's always been. He's the one getting in trouble. It's like we can't get in trouble, but once we're this big, I don't think they can take us anymore. So they've thrown away those weapons of mass destruction. People with a poorly differentiated self depend so heavily on, and here's the point, the acceptance and approval of others that either they quickly adjust what they think, say, and do to please the others, or they dogmatically proclaim what the others should be like and pressure them to conform. Bullies depend on the approval and acceptance as well as the chameleons. But bullies push others to agree with them rather than agreeing with the others like a chameleon would do. Disagreements threaten a bully as much as they threaten a chameleon. An extreme rebel is a poorly differentiated person too, but he pretends to be a self by routinely opposing the position of others. Does that make sense? When you see a bully and a chameleon, they actually are the exact same condition or disorder, actually, and they just process it differently. The same way with this militant or rebel, it's the exact same thing. But understanding that the emotional tie makes you conform. And this conformity, anytime you change what you would normally do for the sake of what someone else said or thought, that's poorly differentiated. Bad state to be in. Because then, of course, you're not your own person. So you're kind of living then, actually, for somebody else. And, of course, you can imagine what that would do to children. They will see you do that, and you'll actually do that to them. Same means of control, you'll use that on them. And then you create poorly differentiated people, kids, who will then marry relationships like that, and then, of course, it just continues, the cycle continues. The idea of changing or understanding these dynamics will actually help in what you non-verbally say to your kids. Because that's really, the lesson really is about what we're doing non-verbally. Because we know the intent of things that we say, but kids just don't always go with that. That's the last thing to listen to, is actually what they've said. You can say, I told them what's right and wrong. That's not enough. And we know as much, exactly. We got to live that before them. But it's the same standard. They're looking at how society is going to be shaped and built by the way we do things. How fair was it in our household? How were things done? Sometimes we do things out of conditions, financial status. There's a lot of things that we do that we wouldn't normally do if situations were normal. A person with a well-differentiated self recognizes his realistic dependence on others. But he can stay calm and clear-headed enough to face the conflict, criticism, and rejection, to distinguish thinking rooted in a careful assessment of the facts from thinking clouded by emotionality. Thoughtful, acquired principles help guide decision-making about important family and social issues, making him less at the mercy of the feelings of the moment. What he decides and what he says matches what he does. He can act selfishly, selflessly, but his actions in the best interest of the group is a thoughtful choice, not a response to relationship pressures, and that is a well-differentiated person. I think these were... Every human society has its well-differentiated people, poorly differentiated people, and people at many graduations between these extremes. Consequently, the families and other groups that make up a society differ in the intensity of their emotional interdependence, depending on the differentiation levels of their members. The more intense the interdependence, the less the group's capacity to adapt to potential stresses, stressful events without a marked escalation of chronic anxiety. Let me give you this on a larger scale. The United States used against us at one point, notice how I said that, fear. Tell me when. 9/11. What was the fear tactic? Yeah, those levels, those different levels, and mixed signals. It's safe to fly. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, the comments going, now, well, yeah, it is again now. Go somewhere now. Terrorist attacks that are coming. Who was evil, who was not. All that was fear. And America was scared for a long time. We were scared of everything, hoping that that never happened again, and that reality, but that was used to the hilt to invoke fear in us. And either we were going to be, and most of America was poorly differentiated to it. We fell for that hook, line, and sinker. And we thought, because of our great trust for our government, and we thought, hey, our government is founded on doing no harm. We're not going to do any harm. We can trust that they're going to do no harm. And we believed that until we started seeing inconsistencies where there was harm being done. It took us like a decade to see that, though. We went a long time, and now a war, and how many deaths later? You know, but at the time, if you think back when it all happened, it was the fear that they were protecting protecting us. We start a whole war on protecting us. They were protecting us.